Page 6, the Woodchuck. It's important to me as we go through these pieces that you understand all these little symbols, everything. It's easy to forget them. Now they give you a chart at the top of the page to tell you where your hands go. I don't like those charts. I would prefer you look at the music itself and the finger numbers involved and figure out where your hands go based on that. So rather than pointing to the chart, I'm going to point to Woodchuck music itself. There is a preparatory drill in the middle of this page. The first part's treble clef. We're going to do that with the right hand if you want to. The second part is the bass clef, and you do that with the left hand. Now at the beginning of each of these in the preparatory drill, there's a bunch of notes jumbled together. When you see this kind of thing in music, you would play all those notes at the same time. What it is they're simply telling you all the notes that are going to be used in the drill. Totally unnecessary as far as I'm concerned. You can skip that little jumbled part. If you're going to do the preparatory drill, just play the notes starting with the first note where the finger number's given. However, we're not doing the preparatory drill in this video. I'm only covering the music itself, so we're going to talk about Woodchuck. And if you need to know where your hands go, then for the right hand, we're going to have, for the time being, the right hand is going to play all the notes in the top staff. And the left hand is going to play all the notes in the bottom staff. Now that top staff, that little curly thingy at the beginning of that top staff, that's called a treble clef. Sometimes we would say the treble staff because it's the staff with the treble clef. That's not always accurate, but right now I'm just going to say the top and bottom stabs. You know which ones I'm talking about, I hope. So the right hand is going to play the top staff in the treble clef. The left hand is going to play the stuff in the bottom staff. That's the bass clef. That little curl with the two dots, that's a bass clef. And if you look at the right hand, you see the first finger, the fingers are numbered, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thumb is number 1. The thumb would go on the middle C, because that's what the music is telling you there. So you'd put your hand on the keyboard with thumb on middle C, and then to put each of the other fingers on each of the other notes. You don't have to push the notes down. I just did it because I like to make noise. So it's here. Then in the left hand, the little finger, the fifth finger, that's the little finger, right? It's going to play the C, that first note is here. So if I do that, then I can put the other fingers on the other ones. That's where the left hand goes. So there they are. It's rocket science, right? It's really hard. All right, here we go. Now hopefully you already know about quarter notes and whole notes and counting and all of that. So apparently there's a different book for Schaum that you did first. I probably should have covered that first, but I think somebody requested this book, so I'm doing this book. However, I'll talk about it because it's important you understand all of this. See the numbers at the beginning of the staves. 4, 4, it's in each staff. Tells you the top 4 is how far you're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to keep repeating that over and over and over, sort of. The bottom number tells you what you're counting. And in this case, 4 stands for a quarter note. So we're going to count quarter notes. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, those are quarter notes, or the equivalent of quarter notes. Look at the first measure in the right hand for the the upper staff. You got 4 quarter notes. Each one would get 1 count. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, it's go 1, 2, 3, 4. So each quarter note gets 1 count. Goes that way all the way through it. If I get to the next measure, I start over with 4 again, because I'm not counting to 5. When I get to 4, I go with 1 again. So the first 2 measures would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That last note there, that C, that's a half note. It gets 2 counts, equivalent to 2 quarter notes in the left hand. we have a whole note. That little circle, that's a whole note. It's equivalent to 4 quarter notes. So in this case, it gets 4 counts. So all the time I'm playing this in the right hand, these 4 notes, I'm going to play that, I'm going to hold that down. So it's 1. See? Then in the next measure, I'm going to play, I'm starting the counting over again, but in the left hand, it's another whole note. So I'm going to hold that down for 4 counts. So if I do the first 2 measures, it's that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole piece works that way. In fact, that's music. The whole music works that way. That was the way you do it. Now there's a note toward the bottom about expression in music where they're telling you about the phrase mark. This can be confusing because it means different things at different times. It means different things for different instruments. Right now we're talking piano because that's what we're doing here is piano, right? Okay. The way they're talking about it is the phrase is a musical sentence. We talk in sentences. We tend to put a break between the sentences most of the time. Sometimes it's a long break, sometimes it's a short break. Break's not what we're after here. It's the fact that a sentence is a musical thought. You just put the whole thing together. The first 2 measures is one phrase, is one sentence. So I'm going to play it as one thought. Now to do that, I'm going to connect the notes. I just did, right? One note starts when another note ends, or one note ends when the next note starts, or something like that. It's Then in the third measure over, a measure, by the way, is that thing between the vertical lines. Those are measure lines or bar lines, and the space in between them is a measure or a bar. So I say measures. And some parts of the world they're called bars. Okay. In the third measure over, the right hand has that here. That's its own little phrase. And then the last measure of the first line is another phrase. The point is, we want a little silence between the phrases. So I'm going to lift the hand up and put it right back down. So to play the first line in the right hand, it's this way. You hear a little silence between them, that's what they're after. In the second line, there's only 2 phrases. But you can see that and you can play those accordingly. In the left hand, there are no phrases marked. There could be, but there aren't. So what we're going to do in the left hand for now is we're just going to connect all the notes. We're just going to play them. We call it legato. We play the first note, and then when you get to the next measure, you play the next note, but you're going to play the next note and lift up on the first note at the same time. Okay, like so. We're just going to connect the left hand all the way through. So the phrasing is only in the right hand. Good luck doing all that. Hopefully you know the names of the notes in the music. So that first note in the right hand, you know that is a C. In fact, it is middle C. And in the left hand, you know the name of that note, I hope, is a C. It's 1 octave below middle C. And I'll get into octaves and all that later. Just go down till you get to the next. There's middle C. Go down till you get to the next C. And that's that one. And if you don't know the names of the notes, please take the time to learn them. Maybe this isn't the right book for you to be in if you don't know the names of the notes and all that. But I'll leave that up to you. One word of warning here, because it's a mistake I made when I was little and getting started, and that is, don't make the mistake of just reading the finger numbers instead of the notes. See, right now when your hand is in a position, we call it a 5-finger position, because 5 fingers are covering 5 keys next to each other. It's easy to just forget the notes. I'm just going to read the finger numbers. I can read 1, 2, 3, and know which finger I'm using, right? I don't have to worry about the note. It's what I did when I was little, and I found out that doesn't work, because you're not going to be in this position forever. You're going to start spreading out, and you're going to be lost if you don't know the note names. So take the time to learn the note names, please. It's important. We're going to play this together slowly. The idea is so you can hear the note I'm playing, you hear the note you're playing, and are they the same note? Because if they're not, you're probably playing the wrong note. And are we playing it at the same time? Because if not, then you're not holding the notes down the right time. So play it along with me. You can play it one hand at a time for a while if you have to, until you're ready to play both hands together. But play it along with me until you're sure you've got it. And stick with these 2 pieces on pages 6 and 7. Stick with these until you get them good before you go on to the next one. Don't rush through the book. That is a serious mistake. I put the metronome on 50. It might be a little slow, but I would like to try it at that, and let's see what happens. So put your right hand where it goes. That's where a 5-finger position with the bottom note on C, or the bottom finger, the thumb on C. And the left hand is on the C below here. And let's try this out. I'm going to count to 4. I'm going to count 4 beats, and then we're going to come in. So it's like a 1, 2, ready, go, and then we play at that together. 1, 2, ready, go. 4, 2, 3, 4. 4.